Hi, this is Travis for Sliver Surfer 1. Today I'm going to be taking out this macro rig to show you how to shoot macro, best settings in my opinion, and where to shoot, and the conditions I like to shoot in. First off, you want to choose an area, a path that you're walking along, that is bordered with lots of vegetation that is about not going to be too hard on your back. I'm a huge fan of mirrorless cameras, but for macro photography you can't beat a DSLR. The reason being, for extreme close photography, you have to shoot your subject at about f/22, f/16, and with most mirrorless cameras you can't see through the lens very well at that level, especially using a flash. It's just really laggy, and the depth of field, even though you're doing f/22, the depth of field is millimeters or less, like a millimeter. So yeah, you want to use a DSLR, because what happens with a DSLR, when you look through it, you're looking through it at a wide open aperture, and when it takes the picture, it closes down that aperture to what you set it to. Okay, I'm using a Pentax K5 right now. It's a really good camera. It's got a manual flash ring on it. This flash is a Pentax 080C. And it is a TTL, but it's not a PTTL, meaning it stopped having communication with the camera. I think it was at the 20D, or like at one of the first digital cameras. You don't need to buy a really expensive flash for this work. You just need one that you can adjust to quarter or half, or at least lower than full. I guess sometimes even use a Minolta on this one. As long as it fires on your camera, it's got that center pin that makes it fire on your camera, like a Canon will work, Minolta will work, and Nikon flash will work on this. Vivitars, also look it up and see if these flashes that you're using have a low enough trigger voltage. Some will have a high trigger voltage and destroy your digital camera. The best way to shoot on non-windy days, it's windy right now. It means the vegetation is going to move around a lot. The bonus to the wind, the flying insects tend to stay where they are. Okay, so I'm going to show you the rig here. You don't need to use a flash bracket like this. I'm just using it for recording purposes. This is what the rig looks like from the side. Unscrew this, you can see what the rig looks like from the side. Okay. I'm keeping it, this is a manual lens. Manual lenses are fine, just as long as you have the aperture control with your camera. Okay, this one here it's a Pentax camera with the Pentax-A manual lenses. Okay, this one is the Dental Macro with the Dental Macro close-up filter, which is a phenomenal thing. They're really hard to come by, but it shoots at 2:1 ratio. That means the object is 2 times the image that you put onto the sensor takes up 2 times as much space on the sensor as it occupies in real life. Okay, so it's projecting through here. A 3mm bug is going to take up 6 millimeters on the sensor. So let's put this back up like this. When you're shooting, shoot in AV mode. Okay, so what I'm doing today is I'm shooting in aperture priority mode. It has nothing to do with the flash, really, because aperture priority is just going to change your shutter speed. And you know, with flashes, shutter speed makes no difference at all. Okay, we have, I previously determined by chimping that my flash at quarter power will nicely expose a 200 ISO at f22. Okay, you can figure this out on your own anywhere. It doesn't matter whether you're outside or inside, because the flash is so close to whatever you're shooting that it basically cancels out sunlight and ambient light when it shoots. The reason why you want to have it set in AV mode is you want to have a nice background. You don't want to have your background all black. It looks cool in some photos, but it doesn't look real realistic. It gives it kind of a studio shot look. You want it set in aperture priority. You can switch your aperture, and you can switch change your ISO, and you let the camera change your shutter speed. Hi, I'm not crazy, I'm just doing a YouTube video. Okay, so what you also want to do is you want to go to your exposure setting, okay, and set it down to about -1 stop exposure, because you do get a tiny bit of, although the flash throw doesn't go very far, you will get a little bit of that as well, so it kind of compensates. And you'll get a gist of how well your flash does that. So I go about 1 stop down. You can bring it up in post, okay? So let's just take a little shot here. When you're shooting, you want to tuck your elbows in. You can see here, tuck your elbows in, and when you look through the lens, you won't see anything at all except for blurry shapes. Well, you'll just see it blur at first, and then you'll see, as you move closer to your object, you'll see it. You'll start to see it better. And then you got to be real quick, because your image is only going to have a depth of field of about 1 millimeter. Right, so you got to be quick. You got to basically let the motion of your body and the motion of the wind, you got to get in sync with that. So, you know, it's going to be frustrating at first because you're going to miss a ton of shots, but it's like, it's more satisfying though, in a way, because you can't really see how well in focus it is by looking at the monitor, unless you're gonna check all the time. But yeah, it's almost like shooting film again. Okay, so I changed the angle a bit so that you could see what I'm taking pictures of. We're walking along the side here, and you can see there's a lot of plants and whatnot. You really don't need to fuss about your camera, but you do need to keep an eye out for bugs. Alright, I see one. Flying bugs are the most difficult. I see a ladybug here. I think I got him, but I will not know fully until we see it later. I'm going to take a couple more shots of him. You brace yourself on your knee. Oh, he doesn't want me to take any more photos of him. The reason why he is on this little plant here is because it's covered with aphids. Just saw a ant protecting the aphid eggs. They feed off sugar they secrete. Another reason why you want to have your flash at a quarter is because you can fire off a bunch of shots without having to wait for your lens to flash. And here I'm a little bit out of breath, and it's just because I have a bad habit of holding my breath when I take a shot. It's kind of like sniper almost. You breathe in and then breathe out when you're doing your shot. We're going to keep an eye on the bushes over here. And just walk and look around. You see, get better at noticing stuff. This wind picked up. I'm not too happy about it, but what can you do, right? There's a nice, easy subject here. There's a little snail. Can hold on to the branch. There's aphids there too. Okay, so we're going to go to AV mode and we're going to take off the flash. So if you set your camera to expose for average of the entire thing and you have it in AV mode and you press it, so we're getting an average reading of around 60, right? And look for a brighter. So we're getting an average of about 60. So you take a picture, let's try again at 125. All right, so we're gonna put it at about 125. I'm gonna set it manually. So I chimped what I want the background to look. Okay, I'm gonna set it to 125 and put my flash back on. All right, and then we're good to go. All right, so what we did is we chimped the back up, and how you do that is you keep your settings at what you want it to be for the flash, and then you chimp for the background by adjusting your shutter speed, because shutter speed's not going to change how the flash exposes your subject. Alright, so my battery just died on my Q-X10. So I'll shoot with my phone. I'm just going to connect it to the back of my Q-X10. Okay. So I'm filming this now on my phone. It's an Acer Jade. It's a pretty good phone. It's not a iPhone or a Samsung, but it makes calls and takes good pictures. What you can also do when you have a lot of wind is you can grab the plant with one hand and take the picture with the other. No, they didn't. They were very polite.
No jumping. 30. No, Reg. Reg. No.
Yeah, they generally won't jump on you unless you make eye contact.
That's true. Yeah.
So
He's a golden retriever though, so he's all about I love you, I love you. Come on, smother.
Yeah.
This way. Very friendly.
Yeah. So it's pretty difficult with this rig here. You best thing is try not to throw a shadow onto the bugs. I think that's why I'm not so successful today, because of the camera I got rigged on top of this flash bracket. Another ladybird hiding. Oh. The reason why I'm smiling is because I think I caught him just as he was taking off. Yeah. Oh, I don't know if it's in focus, but cross your finger. I could look at the pictures on the back, but well, it looks like it's an interesting one. At least some of it's in focus. You don't need a fancy rig like this. I'm taking this out because I haven't shot with this. I bought this one and I thought it was a really neat lens. I got a bargain on it years ago. I never really had taken it out for a shoot, so I thought I would. Normally how I shoot macro photography is with extension tubes and a 50 millimeter lens. This way is a really nice way to shoot though. I think the reason being is because if I'm out here and I see something big that I want to shoot, all I gotta do is rip this off and I can shoot it like normal. Just switch to a different mode and refocus, because the flash, if I'm shooting something even like 3 feet away, flash isn't going to make a difference. Yeah, so sorry, I get distracted by bugs. So I can take this off, put it in my pocket, put it back on when I'm ready, because it's a magnet. It's got a magnet on it. So yeah, it's nice being out here. That's the good thing about macro shots. If you miss them, you got a nice good walk. If I'm not making 100 shots or 200 shots, it's fine. I'm just out here to enjoy myself. If you want to talk about the Pentax K5, it's a real bargain of a camera. It shoots excellent JPEGs. I actually had some shots that I'll put in here that I got yesterday. It was very windy yesterday, but I got some good shots, and I had it on JPEG because I want to see how it compared to my Fuji, which I like Fuji and everything, but I think it's a little bit hyped up. It's a camera after all. There's no such thing as a bad camera. There's such thing as a badly built camera, but as for images, there's no such thing as a bad camera. Like the Fuji, it tends to fall apart. Mine does, at least. This camera, I've shot way more on it, and nothing. It handles the abuse. But the K5, if you can get your hands on the K5, it'll keep up with the newer cameras, the newer APC cameras. But yeah, I shoot Sony. You've seen my other videos. I shoot Sony. I shoot Pentax, and I shoot the Fuji. Oh, there's hopefully he's not going to fly away. Hopefully I got that guy. That was a little tiny fly or wasp. Not a lot of shadows right now, so we can maybe get this guy here. I'm just moving myself to do the focus. When you have a manual focus lens, you move yourself back and forth. Even if you have an autofocus lens, I feel the manual focus shoots is much better because you're in control, full control. It's nice and cool right now. We're not casting a lot of shadows. I'm gonna take down my speed a bit. Yeah, so it's sunny again. I'm gonna lower the exposure of my back, raising the shutter speed when the sun comes up more by one stop. This lens will go to 32, but I don't like to go to 32 because even though there's a larger depth of field, the parts that are in focus are not as in focus as at f22. And I find when you're shooting with a lens for macro photography, I know everybody says go fast. I've got a Pentax f 2.8 to, I believe it's 32 as well. And it's no sharper than this. I think this is actually sharper than that one. And there's all the bokeh, the ones with nice bokeh, like made by Tokina, that are 2.5 or 2.8 for Vivitar and Tokina. And I don't think they're any sharper than this one for macro photography. So you may as well go for an f4, save yourself some money. This one in particular, you're not going to save money, but there is a version of this one that's not a macro dental. But I do think the cheapest way is to go with a 50 and a good set of extension tubes. Go with your native extension tubes or one made for the native body. Don't go for those cheap Chinese $10 ones that just screw on. If you're going with Pentax or Nikon or Canon, you want something that can communicate with the body so that you can have your aperture go from wide open to closed when you take the picture.